Just Hockey Show. I'm the Trev. That's too sweet. Anyway, continuing with the 50-50 Club. And today, we're discussing our second entry into the 50-50 Club. There's only 8 entries in this, so this will be hopefully a playlist that will not take a long time to finish. But anyway, it's been 36 years since the 50-50 achievement had been hit by this point. And by the 1980-81 season, there had already been a plethora of 50 goal scorers. Not as consistent as they became in the 1980s, because the 80s was the boom period for goal scoring. But obviously the mark of 50 goals in a season had been broken a couple times since Maurice Richard first set it. But nobody came close to 50-50 until this point. So with all that being said, we're going to talk about Mike Bossy and his entry into the 50-50 Club. So let's talk about it. So as mentioned, we're traveling in the Wayback Machine to the 1980-81 season. And you're going to find the New York Islanders at this point reeling off the natural high of winning their first Stanley Cup in team history. Their first of 4, I might as well add. And with Mike Bossy, I mean, he's no stranger to the 50-goal season. He'd already scored 50 in his first 3 seasons. Again, how much would you pay for a 50-goal scorer? In those 50-goal seasons, though, he did set a career high with 69 in 1978-79. Nice. And here, the New York Islanders' 80-81 season began on October 11th against the Boston Bruins, which saw Bossy go scoreless. But he would change all that the next game, October 12th, against the Washington Capitals, scoring his first goal of the season, also his first in a 4-game goal streak, which netted 4 goals. After going scoreless against the Hartford Whalers by October 19th, he would add 1 more against the Vancouver Canucks on October 21st before going scoreless in his next 3 games. But that would all change on October 28th against the Montreal Canadiens when he would score his first hat-trick of the season and also in the first of a 6-game goal streak. But all told, in the 11 games he played in October, he came out with 8 goals. So right off the hop, it's not screaming 50-50, but it is saying a lot of goals. That's never a bad thing, right? But as mentioned, we're entering November at the start of a 6-game goal streak, which warranted 14 goals, including that first hat-trick on October 28th, his second hat-trick against the Chicago Blackhawks on November 8th, and his first 4-goal game of the season on November 11th against the Minnesota North Stars. And again, that was 14 goals in 6 games. But again, he would go scoreless in the next 3 before scoring another hat-trick on November 18th against the St. Louis Blues. He would go goalless again against the Hartford Whalers on November 20th before scoring 3 more goals in 2 more games against New York Rangers and Winnipeg Jets, respectively, before going goalless again against the Winnipeg Jets. And would end the month of November with 1 more goal on November 29th against the Detroit Red Wings. So for the month of November, that's 18 goals, which puts us to 26 goals in 26 games. So we've matched the goal a game pace. Now we're thinking it, right? Now, Bossy would start off December in a milestone kind of way, scoring his 200th career goal on December 2nd against the Colorado Rockies. So for keeping count, that's the 27th goal of the season. But then again would go scoreless in his next 2 before scoring 3 in the next 2 after that against the Vancouver Canucks and Edmonton Oilers. He would go goalless again on December 13th before scoring another hat-trick on December 14th against the Winnipeg Jets. He would once again go goalless on December 16th before scoring 4 goals in 2 games, including another hat-trick against the Chicago Blackhawks in a 9-0 blowout. And by this point, Bossy couldn't really contain it anymore. It became public acknowledgement that he was striving for the 50-50 mark. And after going goalless on December 23rd, he would end the month of December on December 27th, finally scoring against the Hartford Whalers to finish December with 12 goals, or 38 and 39. So 1 behind a goal a game pace at this point. So going into the month of January, it's pretty much a dog race between Mike Bossy and Charlie Simmer to see who can score 50 in 50 first or be the only one to do it. And, well, he didn't start off January or 1981 with any goals on January 2nd, but did manage to remedy that on January 3rd, scoring 2 against the Hartford Whalers before going goalless in the next 3. So game 45 on January 11th would see Bossy start a 3-game streak, which would net 8 goals, including a 4-goal game on January 13th against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and yet another hat-trick on January 17th against the Washington Capitals. So in those 3 games, 8 goals, which brings us to game number 48, which saw him go scoreless in a 5-0 shutout against the Calgary Flames. Game 49 on January 22nd also saw him go scoreless in a 3-0 shutout over the Detroit Red Wings. Which brings us to game 50. So if we're keeping score at home, Bossy has 48, Simmer has 46. Simmer and the Kings played earlier in the day. Simmer needed 4 goals. He scored 3. Bossy coming into this game against the Quebec Nordiques on January 24th, 1981, needed 2 more goals. And for the first 2 periods, it didn't look like he was getting anything because he had scored nothing coming into the 3rd period. But that would all change with less than 5 minutes to go before Bossy would score goal number 49 and then score his 2nd goal of the season with 89 seconds left in the game to score his 50th goal in this 50th game and set the record with Maurice Richard to the fastest 50 goals in a season. And again, cement himself as the 2nd player to score 50 goals in 50 games. But in those 50 games, he scored 8 hat-tricks, including 2 4-goal games, to put up with 13 multi-goal games in the first 50. This would turn out to be his 4th straight 50-goal season, and as mentioned, set the record for fastest 50 goals in a season with Maurice Richard. Now, as far as the rest of the season went, he would put up 16 multi-goal games, including 9 hat-tricks, which at the time was a league record, and scored 3 4-goal games for a total goals per game average of .86. While not a 1 per goal game average like Richard did, Richard only played in 50. Bossy played in 79 games this season. In terms of other accolades we could add to this, he played in the 1981 All-Star Game, was elected to the first NHL All-Star team, and helped the Islanders win their 2nd Stanley Cup in franchise history. And if we really want to keep total, he didn't achieve his career high, as he would only score 18 more goals in the next 29 games. I mean, ultimately, the goal of 50-50 was first and foremost, right? So naturally, once that's done, you can relax, right? But his 68 goals was 1 short of a career high. Could have been so close. Could have been 70. Of those 68 goals, 22 were on the power play, and 2 were shorthanded. And that is essentially the story of Mike Bossy and his entry into the 50-50 club. So that's another one of them Trev's hockey shows. I want to thank you for tuning in. Don't think I don't appreciate the gesture, especially if you've made it to this point. If you've made it to this point, I'm very thankful that you did. I like it when I'm able to tell NHL history in the story form or format that I'm presented that ability to. And 50-50 has always been one of my favorite things. But if you've made it to this point, you're helping out my watch time incredibly, and I could not be more thankful to you for that. But if you're here, if you're digging what I'm doing, you just want to say, hey, throw me a thumbs up. Trust me, I'm all for it. If you really want to. If you got that red button that says subscribe all over it, if you haven't done so by now, feel free to hit it. Come on, you know you want to. I know you want to. The algorithm knows you want to, and trust me, it'll make you feel good. Make me feel good. So why deny yourself a bad thing, right? Right. Now, if you really want, if you want to go that extra mile, that link in my description below, that'll take you to my Facebook page. Feel free to join that. I mean, I'd love to build the follower count there, like I'm building the subscriber count here. And I'm seeing growth, and it's not a bad thing at all. I mean, I'm quite active on there, so chances are you'll find me. But there's all that. So moving forward, as far as the 50-50 club is concerned, well, we got our first entry of 3 from the same player, and I don't think I have to mention whose name it is. Should say it all, right? But either way, in the meantime, and in between time, be looking for more videos from Trev. Data.